My name is Oluwasegun. This particular study follows a hypothesis, and the hypothesis is that we believe that neighborhood socioeconomic deprivation may actually be a more robust measure of socioeconomic deprivation rather than looking at patient insurance or patient income. And we decided to explore this hypothesis by focusing on one of the major public health problems in the United States, which is firearm injuries in Maryland. And we decided to use the Maryland database because the Maryland database has a unique, the state inpatient databases gives us the opportunity to look at patient zip codes, which we don't have in nationally representative samples. So because of that, we try to look at the association, if there is any, between patients, between the rates of firearm injuries in Maryland and neighborhood socioeconomic deprivation, captured as the Distress Community Index. The Distress Community Index actually utilizes 7 metrics and quantifies these metrics into a numerical score that ranges from 1 to 100, and further subdivide this numerical score into quintiles, where we have 4 quintiles, with quintile 1 having the lowest socioeconomic deprivation, which can also be referred to as prosperous neighborhood, and quintile 4 as the most socioeconomically deprived neighborhood. So what we tried to do is we conducted a retrospective analysis from January 2019 to December 2020. We utilized a particular variable in the state emergency database. From 2019, the state emergency database actually creates a variable that measures the mechanism of injuries. So rather than use the ICD code, we decided to use that variable that can tell us whether patients have firearm injuries because of some of the problems you can have with ICD codes. Because of that, we got a very low number, but we know that these numbers are more sensitive and more specific than using the ICD code. So at the end of the study, we have about 2,767 emergency department visits that were on account of firearm injuries, which are assault or unintentional injuries. We excluded patients that has suicide as an indication for the firearm injury. And we looked at that association, whether Distress Community Index, the DCI, we actually have an association with this neighborhood economic deprivation. Having done that, we found out that this is our forest plot. We adjusted for some traditional risk factors like patient race, we adjusted for patient age groups, we adjusted for gender, we adjusted for drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and depression. And we found out that if you look at this, our reference, the red line is our reference. Any group that falls to the right of the reference shows that this particular group has a higher risk of emergency department visit on account of firearm injuries. But when you have a group that falls to the left of the reference group, this group are less likely to have that emergency department to visit. And we still found out that the neighborhood with the highest socioeconomic deprivation, which is distressed communities, has the highest risk of emergency department visit on account of firearm injuries, which are homicides or unintentional injuries. So in conclusion, we will say that the Distress Community Index has a strong association with, we could say that neighborhood socioeconomic deprivation has a very strong association with firearm injuries, emergency department visit on account of firearm injuries in Maryland. Thank you.